Welcome to Life, Laughter, Divorce, episode 34. I am your host, Leanne Linsky.
And I'm the boyfriend.
And we are back. Hey, while you're out there on the internet tuning in, go ahead and feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. And while you're out there, you may want to check out our website.
What did you do to the website?
I tricked out the website.
Really?
That's right. A little bit. I put a little bit of tricking on there.
Boo. Actually, what she did though, it's very informative and it's mobile friendly, and there's a few new tabs, right?
That's right. Let me tell you some background on this. Okay, so on one of the tabs that was already there, which was blog and show notes, there's a lot of show notes up. So if you missed an episode or you want to reach one of our guests and find out how to contact them, all the links, all the details, they're right there on the blog under show notes. Oh, by the way, another feature that's on the blog is we have a very special blogger called Momnonymous.
Who?
Momnonymous. I don't know what it is with everybody around me in my life that wants to remain anonymous, but there's the boyfriend who does not blog, and then there's Momnonymous, who I have no idea who this is, but she's anonymous and she blogs. So she actually recaps and kind of reviews each of our podcasts. So if you want to check out her words of wisdom and what she hears, go ahead and check out our blog.
They're informative, they're great, and sometimes they're funny. It's fantastic.
It's really nice. It's very awesome. So, and her bio is also up on the About page, so you can find out more about Momnonymous and see what her deal is. And then if you go over to the classes section, there's a new webinar posted for October. So if you're interested in learning about divorce prov, I highly recommend you go and checking that out. We'll be talking about that more in the coming weeks.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And there's one more, right?
There is another tab. And you just might find some really cool things under retail therapy. And that's all I'm going to say about that for today.
So check it out and let us know what you think.
Yeah, please do. Okay. So the boyfriend, you've been busy over there going through your little Rolodex.
Yeah, I've the Rolodex of my mind.
It's a scary thing.
Just going through and sort of assessing where my dating life has been and where I'm at now.
How you ended up here is yes, what you're wondering.
So I look back and I don't know, there's a lot of people that do a lot of data things now these days, and I go back and I look at all these things, and there's a high probability that I was dating people that were directly related to something I did or something I was involved with. I thought you were going to say
to you, and I was like, where were you?
I'm not from
that
parts of the country, so I'm fine. No, but people that were related to work or things that I was involved in. So direct contact, which is typically where you find most of the people you date anyways. But when you think about it, we have a lot in common, but almost too much in common sometimes. And then I'm looking at where I'm at now, and you and I couldn't be more different in what we do. Right. And it's been refreshing. It's been healthy. It's been fun. I've been learning a lot about your world and your life. And I think you've done a little bit about what I do in my world and my life. And it's been great. So I think this whole thing of opposites attract doesn't work always, but it does work sometimes. And it worked well here.
You know, I think you're right. Thinking back on people I've dated and or married, you're extremely different from most of them, all of them, and in so many respects. And I think though the one thing that makes something like this work that's different in my past relationships is, although in my past relationships we had, came from the same world and we're doing the same kind of things, I think what was missing and what I found here is that we have the same core values. And I think in a relationship, like that strong foundation of, my major belief system and stuff like that, those things are of most value to me. And that's where we have that in common. So, everything on the external orbiting part of that area. If any of that makes any sense.
Half.
You know what I mean? But it's the foundation stuff that really makes that makes it work. And then everything else, it's like, oh, okay, I get to learn something new. I get to, see something different. But at first glance, if I had met you 10 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, that would never work. Oh, hell no.
I think if we looked at it on paper now, it wouldn't work. You would look at this and be like, no, this won't work. And I agree. 10 years ago, I was definitely in a different spot mentally and not ready for something like this.
Right.
But experiences and lessons of life have sort of brought us both here, and it's been positive.
Yeah, I agree. And I would never have thought that that the type of person I am with you now, I would never have thought that this is who I'd end up with, because it doesn't on paper make a whole lot of sense. But it works. It works. And that's just awesome. So I think that this whole thing ties in very well with our guest today because, coming out of divorce and knowing what doesn't work, sometimes we don't always know what will, or if it ever will, or if it's even possible. And that's why it makes sense that our guest today is my friend back from New York, Samantha Gurewitz. Let me tell you a little bit about Sam. Sam is a comedian, a singer-songwriter, a writer, and an actor, and a co-host for the National Lampoon Presents The Final Edition podcast. And oh, by the way, she's a makeup artist and a child of divorce. That's right. So this is my friend from back in New York. I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Samantha Gurewitz. Without further ado. All right, welcome to Life, Laughter, Divorce podcast, Samantha.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for driving all the way from Los Angeles.
Oh, you're welcome.
To beautiful Long Beach.
Don't forget the boyfriend. He's here this time too.
Yes, the boyfriend is here this week too. So we're
normally
excited.
I'm not here. She does Skype interviews a lot, and I'm not going to stand over her shoulder. But we're all here together. So
it's a party.
Yeah. I'm excited to be a little third.
Never thought of it that way.
And he will always think of it that way from this point forward.
Yes, proud to be your unicorn on this podcast today.
Nice. So you're a child of divorce. Do you want to give us a little bit of background of what that experience has been like?
Sure. I think ended up being a child of two divorces because my dad, before me, my mom had two other husbands. So my dad was my mom's third husband. And then I'm their only child. They separated, got back together, and then finally divorced when I was about 12. And then my mom married this crazy guy she met on AOL briefly when I was in high school, and they were married for 2 years. This fucking
AOL was crazy times.
I mean, yeah, right? Like if you thought meeting someone on the internet was sketchy, like now.
It was really sketchy,
you know? It was like an AOL chat room for real estate agents in Florida, I think is where they met. And they were married for a few years when I was in high school, and then they divorced when I was 17. So
that was her fourth marriage.
That was her fourth marriage. I called him number 4 for a brief period of time.
How'd that go?
He didn't like it. No. But he was literally a terrible human being, like a con man and probably a child molester.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Real Florida. Real.
Okay, so yeah, we have to set the tone. This did take place in Florida.
Yes, this all took place in South Florida.
So we're sorry to all of our Florida listeners.
I'm sorry. Not necessarily the place you go to find healthy relationships.
You're all right. So has she been married since?
No, but they still talk every single day. My parents.
Your parents. Okay.
It's number 3.
It's number 3. Daddy and mommy. I'm both of their only child. So they like to blame me for this. They're like, well, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't keep talking to them. I'm like, no, you would, because you're codependent. Like they have like this weird codependent relationship that they never ended. Like, my dad still pays for all my mom's stuff, and my mom still complains that it's not enough, even though he's her ex-husband.
Sounds like your mom's just smart. I don't know about codependent. No. Well, there you go.
That's one way of looking at it.
So 2 divorces. You experienced 2 divorces before you were 17.
Yeah.
So you've seen good and bad relationships. How did that affect you?
Sure. I mean, I don't know how it directed me at the time, because I feel like, then I was just so aware that I wasn't legally in charge of myself, and these crazy people were, and I was trying to be very escapist. I just did a ton of drugs. So I wasn't like aware of how the divorce was affecting me as much as I was like aware of how the ecstasy was affecting me. But later, I distinctly know that when I had a long-term relationship in New York with someone I was with for 5 years.
Right.
And a year in, we had I feel like you might have been there for all of that.
Right. Yeah.
We had a terrible, he didn't cheat on me, but he groped a friend of mine in front of me. And it was, did you know that? I feel like I might have.
I think I may have known this. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so then instead of breaking up with him, I felt like we needed to figure out how to work it out, because all relationships have problems and you need to know how to work it out and stick together. And later I was like, I think I was doing that because it was like my way of rebelling against my parents who just could never work it out, because they're basically still together in a lot of ways, but they can't get over their stuff and just deal with the fact that they're going to have arguments about these certain things, and how to get over that and stay together. So I did that. It's like my own rebellion. I stayed with someone.
You're going to do the opposite of whatever your parents were doing.
And then 4 years later, it's like, oh, but we should have broken up. Like, for so many other reasons that you can't always fix. Like, he did go to therapy and he fixed a lot of stuff. And then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, right. But the whole reason that happened in the first place, I think, was because of problems that are underlying with our compatibility, that you can't.
You can't fix that.
You can't fix that,
Right.
So that I thought about later. I mean,
that's interesting though. So instead of to go the opposite direction, to put more effort into the relationship because of what you've seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that was my way of rebelling, to double down.
You're like, I'm going to make it work.
I'm going to make this work. We will. We almost got married. We were about to get a civil union so I could get on his insurance. And then the day we were going to go to the courthouse, I flipped out. And I was like, I just feel like I wish I'd gotten a ring, or like, not like an actual engagement ring. Like, I was like, even a Cracker Jack ring, even just, it's the gesture, I felt like there was like literally no romance in it. And it was like, really, we were just doing it for the insurance and like going through our relationship like it was a business move. And I kind of freaked out about it. And he was like, oh, well, I'll go get a ring now. And he went down the street to the store and he bought a ring and brought it back. And it was literally the most ugly thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, no.
It was like wooden with a turtle carved in it. And I was just like, I looked at it and I was like, if you bought that for me, you do not know me. You know what I mean? And if you don't know me by now.
So if you haven't figured it out, ladies and gentlemen, they know each other.
I probably should have prefaced that Sam and I know each other from New York.
Yes.
So we've known each other for quite some time.
Yes, Leanne actually knew me through this whole relationship.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why I keep being like, did you knew that? I told you the story, right? You saw a lot of this go down.
Right. No, I do remember. I didn't realize that you guys were going to do a civil union. And
yeah, that was just a private thing. That was sort of after I took my hiatus from improv.
Right.
Because the thing that happened with my friend, it was with someone on my improv team. And then instead of breaking up with the boyfriend and keeping my whole life,
right,
I quit improv in my whole life and kept the boyfriend.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got real weird and paranoid about being there,
Right.
You know how when you're in your 20s, you assume that everyone is talking about your problems and gossiping about you or making judgments about
Well,
you.
in the improv community, they are.
They kind of are, but then later I realized they definitely are.
They are.
But not as much as you think, because just how you're obsessing that everyone's thinking about you, literally everyone is obsessing about themselves and what everyone thinks of themselves. And
it's so true.
Yeah.
You're right.
It took me a long time to realize everyone's too self-obsessed to really care about what's going on with me.
Right. No, it's a really
kind of
good
liberating,
point. No, and so you guys were going through this, and did your mom know you were going to do this?
They knew, yeah.
What was her take on it?
They would go back and forth. Mom would be supportive generally. I mean, they both sort of thought I could do better a lot of the time. But it's that parent thing where like you call up and you complain and they go, "Oh, what a piece of shit. You should break up with him. He's no good for you, blah, blah." And then you call up and you're happy and they're like, "Great, as long as you're happy." Like, whatever,
Yeah. But then don't you regret ever saying to your parents the things that were wrong? Because that will always be coming up later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my dad never liked that Matt was not a supportive kind of guy. He was like, let's split everything 50-50, even though he made like 6 times what I did. So it was like, let's split everything 50-50, but I need to live in this fancy apartment. And I'm like, I can't afford 50% of this apartment.
Right.
And I'm like asking my dad for help and stuff because I can't afford half my rent when I live with a guy who, made
Could
decent
easily
money.
afford
He
all of
worked
it,
at like
yeah.
a bank and all that. And I'm doing this whole starving artist thing. My dad never really liked that.
Yeah. Dads don't.
No.
Right.
Especially a nice Jewish dad, That's the end. He wasn't Jewish, so he could never totally win over my dad that way.
Right. So I wonder, if your mom has been married 4 times and she has no plans in the near future to be married again and everything, what does she ever talk to you about, your thoughts on marriage, and what does she ever say? Hey, you should get married, or you should never do this. Don't ever do it.
She's pretty adamant that no one needs to get married and it's pointless. You shouldn't do it. And at the same time is mad and won't be with my dad because he doesn't want to marry her again because she's also gone into bankruptcy a few times and stuff. And he's like, why would you want us to get married again? All it's going to do is ruin my credit, which is going to ruin your source of income.
Yeah.
But my mom wants him to get married, and then at the same time we'll be like, yeah, marriage is bullshit. I love being free. She never changed her name when she married my dad because she'd done it twice before.
Right.
So she never took my dad's name.
Did she take number 4?
No.
No, okay.
She was over the name.
Social Security doesn't let you in after a certain time. That's what I learned with no. I always joke that Social Security office, when they see me coming in, there's a picture with a circle and a slash through it. Don't let this broad in again to change her name.
Oh.
Because I've been married and divorced twice. Oh. So that I understand why your mom wouldn't take somebody else. It's a hassle.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? Right?
Changing your whole identity.
Yeah. People, at this point in my life, do I really need to change my name?
I'm not ready to change my branding.
Right. I have all my headshots. I have, I already have this domain name. Are you kidding? Why would I change it?
I already have swapped between using my mom's last name and my dad's last name
Really?
at different points in my life. When I started acting, someone told me my last name was too Jewy.
Really?
So I took my mom's last name.
There's no such thing in
I wasn't just
acting
doing comedy at the time. I was
Okay.
doing straight acting.
Okay.
Then when I went to comedy, I was like, wait, what? There's never too Jewy in comedy.
That's what I'm saying.
So
I'm
I
wait a
went back
minute.
to my dad's last name.
No. So she just says, don't bullshit, don't do it. What about your dad?
My dad, he got engaged once after my mom, which ended up being broken off for a few reasons, but one of which I think is my mom and her relationship with my dad and how it just,
It's a love-hate thing.
Yeah. They're each other's lobsters, and they just won't admit that part of their thing is yelling at each other all the time. Yeah. But I think he's a bit of a hopeless romantic under all of his bravado and like guy from the Bronx stuff. So I think he would get married again under the right circumstances. Whether those are ever going to happen again, I don't know. If he can manage to distance himself from my mom so that he can have a healthy relationship with someone else, then maybe he will. But I don't know.
What about you, though? What are your views on it after seeing them go through their ups and downs?
I think I'm kind of a hopeless romantic too. Like I kind of,
where's my ring?
I kind of want it. I don't know if I would necessarily feel the need to get like legally married, aside from if the tax advantages were good enough or whatever. For me, it's more the ceremony of like committing to each other and, the symbolism and all of that. Like, I think I would like that.
No.
I don't think I want a big traditional wedding, but, I'd like one. I want the party. Come on.
Would you ever just have the party and not the groom?
Maybe. I threw myself a bat mitzvah.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. When I turned 31, I threw myself a dyslexic bat mitzvah because I never had one when I was a kid. So I did. I was like half comedy show, half people came up and did toasts. I got lifted in the chair. I did the whole thing. It was really fun. So I would totally do that. I plan on throwing myself a dyslexic quinceañera when I turn 51.
Oh, there you go.
So why not?
Yeah. So, have you been proposed to besides?
No.
No?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. I've only had 2 committed boyfriends really ever in my life.
So would you attribute that to anything that you've seen growing up, through your parents, or is that just more of a personal choice outside of that?
It wasn't a personal choice. So it's definitely definitely stuff from my parents. I don't know if it's looking at their relationship or just the utter lack of advice or a good model that I was getting from my mom or my dad about how to have a healthy relationship. Like I didn't really know. I remember I was like a teenager, right? And my mom is a free spirit, you might say. She's an artist. Her, me, and number 4 were all doing drugs together in the house. It wasn't like just me. Like we were all getting high together. So it was a bit of a crazy situation. And I wasn't, and I'd be like 16. I'd bring home like 20-something-year-old guys and no one would say anything. No one cared. No. And I asked my mom later in life, I was like, Mom, why didn't you ever tell me like if I wanted a boy to date me, I probably just shouldn't sleep with them right away. Because I really didn't realize that's not how it went.
Right.
I figured, it's an important part of getting to know you, see if your chemistry's right. If it is, why not keep dating? I didn't realize this whole weird thing guys have that if you sleep with them too soon, then you're done. I don't know. I still don't get it personally.
Right.
But she's like, oh, I don't know. I thought your girlfriends would tell you that. So like, I wasn't really getting a lot of
parenting.
Exactly.
Got it.
And so I definitely think part of it is because of that. I just didn't know.
Did you do some of those things because you were hoping that someone would stop you and go, hey, what are you doing? Let's sit down and talk about it. Or did you do it because you truly didn't know, or a combination?
I truly didn't know. Because, I was hanging out, being raised by artists and whatever, I really believed that free love had happened. I thought it had. And we were all like over that. And then how like the late 90s, it got weird and it got kind of 50s-ish again. Yeah, I really didn't know. Maybe some part of me was hoping someone would be like, I don't know, pull me back from the edge. But I think I really didn't believe that was going to happen.
Well, when did you?
That's your norm. That's what you thought was the norm. So you weren't doing anything wrong. And then when did you finally realize, or not realize, or when did it? Realize is a bad word. When did you finally? When did it dawn on you that this wasn't the way it should? This wasn't the way we should be going about a relationship.
Oh, like my 20s.
Yeah.
Like way too late.
It's never too late.
Way too late.
It's
Yeah,
never
it
too
was
late.
like way too late.
How did that realization come around?
It wasn't like aha moment thing. I think I just slowly over, talking to people, and because I still don't want to admit that we're so old-fashioned and weird that people are like that. I don't necessarily think you have to be. Like me and my ex, we didn't wait very long to sleep together, but I don't know. At some point, I was like, why isn't this working? Why aren't I getting any boyfriends? But I'm sleeping with a lot of people. And I just started talking to people, and it started to dawn on me that, it's like the 50s still. Like there's these rules to relationships or whatever that I still don't do very well.
Yeah. And it's almost like maybe not even that there's rules, but maybe like societal norms. Like what more people are accustomed to it being this way rather than the way, probably, like in my background growing up in my household was much different, like I couldn't have a boyfriend come over and sit in my bedroom. So like that stuff wasn't going to happen there. But I think, depending on how people are raised, everybody's going to be a little bit different in the parenting area. But if you have parents, like if your parents are split up, and talking to other children of divorce where, they were raised by a single parent or something, obviously it's a little bit different dynamic because they're seeing how their parent acts in different relationships and behaves. And so it's a learned behavior more so than it is, maybe rules.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, definitely more probably observing and not directly, making thoughts and choices about it as much as just modeling behavior because you're a kid.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because if, and probably, I guess, with the number of divorces nowadays, because there's like a high percent chance that your marriage will fail or at some point. No, I hate the word fail, that it won't last forever. Let's put it that way. There's a good chance that a great number of kids will be raised in households where their parents are dating, and they'll learn their dating habits and relationship habits from that versus a long-term lasting relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in both cases, it could be good or bad. Because, there's those people that have long-term, like abusive, terrible relationships, and their kids are modeling that. So just because it's long-term doesn't necessarily mean it's great,
Exactly.
Just to give us a shot.
Yeah. No, and there's not to say that one's better or one's right or one's wrong.
Yeah.
But that might probably, going forward, we'll see a lot more people having different experiences rather than more of the same.
I wonder if that's why they say you tend to look for someone that's like, your mom or your dad, because you've learned to date like your mom or your dad. Yeah. So you need to find someone on the other side of that.
Yeah, because I think there's some sort of comfort, whether it's right for you or not. I think we tend to go with what we know.
Yeah.
It's a familiarity.
Yeah.
With the situation. Yeah.
For sure.
So how's this changed your dating habits now? Because now you've moved out of New York and you're here in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
So what's that?
Yeah. How's that going out here?
And has that changed anything?
Well, I tried to change. When I first got here, I was like, I want a real relationship, and I'm going to start admitting that to myself instead of pretending like I'm cool with all the casual stuff. Because I also, I'm a Scorpio. I'm a modern woman. I have needs. And it's hard to be patient. And I personally, part of the reason that I think it's stupid to, have this whole like, well, we need to wait a certain amount of time before we sleep together.
You mean before dinner or after?
Right? I hate putting in all this time, getting to know someone, getting excited, and then you sleep together and it doesn't click and you don't connect in that way. And I can't deal with that, if you don't connect in stylistically or physically. And
then you wasted all that time.
Yeah.
Time is important, man. That's all we got. And I had a 6-month drought when I first got here because I was holding out, but it's also hard to meet people. And I hate Tinder and stuff. And then one day I met this cowboy stunt driver at Birds. was like, all right, LA. Yeah. And then I've had some pretty unsuccessful things. I think because I went in mostly with all of them being like, this isn't a thing. I don't really care about it. This is just to tide me over. And then, you sleep with someone a while and you like it. And I'm like, well, maybe this could be a thing. I just wrote a song about it actually called Dick Trap. It's a dick trap. I fall into the dick traps. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really like this guy. He's just sort of fine. But like he's funny. Like we get along in more of a friend's way. I'm not like necessarily like super attracted or into him. And then like you hook up and it's like, oh, but I liked that. Okay, well maybe we can make this work. And it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work.
No, it's a dick trap.
It's a dick trap. TM.
So ultimately, what would you want in a relationship? What does that look like to you?
Well, one thing that I really like, which is hard, is that I, as a creative person, and my friend and roommate, she thinks this is a terrible idea, and probably why most of my relationships fail, because I like to also be with artistic people. I find it really I find talent really sexy, and when you're both artistic, there come a lot of ego battles there, and it's a big problem. The last guy I was hooking up with in New York, I remember this Italian guy was just like, you want someone who inspires you. And I was like, yeah, I do. Why would you not want that? Who wouldn't want that? I want someone who inspires me every fucking day. I write music. Like I need someone I can write a song about. It has to be good enough for that. But that's really hard to find.
That's like going to a psychic and being like, it looks like you want a happy relationship. Yeah, who doesn't?
I want all the good things.
Yeah.
Support each other, love each other,
Well,
physically.
Are there some deal breakers?
I mean, yeah, but then I tend to date them anyway.
What are the deal breakers?
Oh, one of the last guys I tried to date, coke problem.
Oh,
should be a deal breaker, right?
Yeah.
I think we can work with this. I mean, if you're not 100% attracted to someone, that should be a deal breaker. I've pushed through somehow, strangely, because I'm tall and it's hard for me to find guys taller than me. And I'll always be like, after I end dating someone, I'm like, next time I'm going to be like one of those girls where I'm like, I'm only going to date someone taller than me. And I'm just going to be tough about it. And I'm going to be a total bitch about it. And then I go date someone who's 5'8". I don't know. Because I don't care. It's about personality. I'm a mess. But they're really funny or something,
Okay, so here's what I'm getting from this. So things that are a deal breaker. So you don't want a cokehead. You don't want a 5'8" cokehead.
Yeah, no, not a short cokehead.
They got to be at least tall.
They need to be tall and not do cocaine.
Not do cocaine.
How am I not finding a guy?
I don't know. Maybe
LA?
because you're in LA, right? So, all right. And then on the other side, they have to have some talent. Right?
Yeah.
So they have to inspire you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being with somebody that doesn't? Boyfriend's looking at me. I'm like, don't look at me, man. So, he's being quiet. So someone who inspires you, somebody who's talented, maybe an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then not too short and not having some substance issues. So,
but also having some
open.
substance issues.
Okay.
Like I smoke pot, I drink. I can't be with a totally sober person either.
All right, so some fine balance in the middle, right? Yeah. But not someone like you that can't function. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So a functioning alcoholic.
Well, I think as someone that's done a lot of things, I find coke particularly like bad on the personality.
It's also very 90s.
It's the most selfish drug. You just become a monster.
I want to go back to the whole talent thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to date someone with talent, but that's hard to do, dating someone in the same field, same background. Because like you said, there is a competition, there is ego, there is these things. And sometimes opposites do work.
Yeah.
So have you dated anyone that's been opposite?
I try. I go on Tinder dates with doctors or whatever, and I just...
What's wrong with the doctor?
They're great. They're great. I just haven't met one. You know, and I'm still open to it as a possibility, but like, I don't know. I just like watching someone do something artistic, or, you know, reading something they wrote or something they drew, listening to music, whatever. I find it really attractive. And I'm a very emotional person, so I like that aspect of it. And I feel like when I date people that aren't in the arts, it's just a little dry. Like, I feel like I always get bored, you know?
Yeah.
You listen to someone talk about their data job, or like trying to explain, you know, some law thing to you for like 20 minutes. You're like, uh-huh. Cool. Great.
And you're like, I wrote a song called Dick Trap.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's interesting, because now the boyfriend asked you that. Now the boyfriend and I are very opposite. So he's like that guy.
Thanks.
And I'm over here going, I've got lobster claws as hands. And he's like, I don't know what just happened.
I love the idea of it,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like yin and yang and balance.
But the thing is I would never have thought it worked. Like, anytime that I dated somebody opposite of me in the past, it just never worked out. I was the same as you. I was like, oh, snooze fest, you know, like, seriously, like, that's, how was your day? And I was like, I did math. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a drink, you know, or whatever. But I find now, like, I think for me, it's for sure the right person, because there's a different appreciation and a different conversation. There's a balance there that kind of changes it. And, you know, but so I understand where you're coming from. And at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I ended up in this whole compatibility thing where opposites attract, and it works all of a sudden.
I know. I mean, I always try and develop rules or like what I should do, and then I see something that breaks the mold. I'm like, well, anything can happen. I don't know. I guess you just got to keep throwing darts against the wall. Yeah. Because if there was a rule, if there was like one thing that really worked for everyone, we'd all be doing it. You know?
True.
We're all down to try whatever new dating thing someone suggests. Yeah. Anytime anyone is like, this is how you get a man, this is how you whatever. Like, people try it.
Oh, yeah. Like, people always said, oh, if you live with them before, you know, before you get married, then you know it's going to work. And I'm like, no, I've done both those things. And
or then the other people are like, you shouldn't live together until you're married because it ruins it. Or...
I'm like, yeah, nope, did that too.
Yeah.
That's not what ruins it. Trust me. There's other things.
I mean, humans are just too individual and unpredictable to, I think, have a set rule that works for everyone.
Yeah. So now that you know, like, that you're kind of like in this experimental phase, right?
I guess.
I don't know. What do you see in the future for you? Do you see a wedding? Do you see some crazy artistic out there thing?
I still, you know, in the vision board of my mind, I do. Somewhat artsy. You know, I want to have kids eventually, so.
Oh, yeah. So that's something that, like, I'm kind of curious about. Knowing how your parents didn't parent you in the same, more of a traditional sense of parenting when it comes to relationships and those kind of things, how would you be with your own kids?
Oh, I'm a great mother because I've been a mother my whole life to my mother. So that's how it went down. And now I've been a nanny and stuff for many years. So I also like got to make mistakes on other people's kids. And I really learned a lot. So it's like I literally know I'll be a good mom because I've been paid to be a mommy for someone else's kids. I've like had practice. But it's true. I realized that, you know, and even, you know, and when you're like hanging out with drug people, like I was always the one holding everyone's hair, getting them water, making sure everyone was okay, you know? So I've just always sort of had the personality type.
Yep. The very nurturing.
Last time I visited, my mom actually finally said, I was doing something where I was like, okay, we need to go. We need to get you to your appointment. Like, we need to get in the car. And she's like, you know, you've always been a great mother to me. And she meant it. I was like, thank you. Thank you for finally acknowledging my hard work. My mom's also an only child. and she's not.
okay.
She didn't want children. I'm a compromise with my dad because he wanted multiple kids, and she was 39, so I kind of suspect that she thought she couldn't get pregnant. So I feel like she probably was like, oh.
She was 39 when she had you?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so, all right. So would you have kids when you're older, or when would you prefer to have them younger?
I would have them around that age. I don't think that's an issue necessarily. The kids I sat for, their mom was in their 40s when she had them.
That's why she had you. You realize that, right?
No, it's because she was actually a very high-powered executive.
Oh,
yeah, she was jet-setting all over the world. She'd be in China making deals and stuff.
Wow.
Good for her.
It was cool. It was cool to work for a powerful woman, where like the dad was the stay-at-home dad, but he would easily get overwhelmed. It was cute though. It was nice. But wait, I just lost my train of thought.
You were always a mom.
Oh yeah, and I don't. It doesn't. The idea of having kids when I'm older doesn't bother me. I think the thing is, when you're a woman, you can't bank on that.
Mm-mm.
Like literally now, Pandora is already playing ads for me. Like, are you over 30? Have you thought about freezing your eggs? Like every 2 months, it's like, I get it. I'm running out of eggs. Cool. Thanks for the reminder, Pandora. Like, this is what I need to hear on the way to this Tinder date. Like, no. So you just have to start thinking, which is so obnoxious, because I would love the idea of like, I have plenty of time to think about it. Like as a guy, you can be like, I want to have kids one day maybe, and like you could still be in your 50s. Like what David Letterman had one in his 70s or something. So the possibilities always there, but I think as a woman, when you get to 30, you're like, oh, you just have this like ticking clock.
Well, it's funny because I hear so many people talk about it. I see people post on it on Facebook, like, my doctor just suggested I freeze my eggs or something, and I can have kids whenever I want. And I'm like, trust me, you're not going to want to when you get to my age. Like your body, it changes, and you're just like, I need a nap. And so I would have to be napping with my child at this point.
Well, don't they though? Like, I'm kind of excited to see. I feel like, after you're pregnant, you get like all these crazy mommy hormones. Like your body totally changes.
Yeah, it does change your body. Hormones are powerful little things, man.
I feel like it's like your body is suddenly like, oh shit, we got shit to do now for like at least 20 years. Like, all right, I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you that.
Yeah,
like
you go into mommy mode or something.
Yeah, I want to know. I just want to know.
But I think if you miss that window, your body starts going into decaying mode instead. It's like, don't get it confused. Maybe. Don't wait too long, ladies. Tick tock. So no pressure.
Just a reminder to you.
Set the timer.
Start swiping, ladies.
Swipe right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you'd probably be a good mom then, if you got that down.
I think so.
How would you talk to your kids about relationships?
I mean, what I did when I nannied is that I generally kept, I don't know, a working practice of being as honest as possible, but just sort of trying to simplify things. I don't know. I don't think that I would be like, okay, kids, let's sit down and I'm going to explain relationships to you. I think I would more be like, so what's going on in your life?
Yeah.
Like these people, or like if you're watching something, you're like, oh, do you see how they interacted there? Like that's a good thing, or that's a bad thing, or don't treat people like that. That's not nice. Like just sort of, it tends to we're bringing things up in the moment when it's actively happening, rather than like lecturing kids about like all of this stuff where they're going to tune you out anyway and like not pay attention. So,
but at least you have it in your mind to bring it up and have discussions even while it's happening. Because it sounds like it was more than what you may have had when you were going through it.
Yes, exactly.
Because you would be paying attention maybe to more.
Yeah. I don't know if it's true necessarily, but sorry. I've felt a lot of kinship with things I've been reading lately about children of narcissists.
Of course, there's books on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I don't know if my parents necessarily are, but I heard so much about their relationship all the time, which was a boundary that they were never good at keeping, and they still aren't good at keeping. I remember my grandmother, everyone would tell them, like, you can't talk to Sam about each other. But almost on a daily basis, my mom's like, your dad this, your dad's a piece of shit, your dad does this, your dad does that. And my dad's like, your mom's this, your mom's that. And they just talk shit about each other to me, which is like the worst place to be as a kid. Because on both sides, I'm like, but I love both of you. You are both my parents. Like, I can't pick the sides.
Right.
Which I had to do a lot. So I would actively not, which just was like, oh, you're not paying attention to me or how this is affecting me. Like, that's not your concern right now. I'm being used as like this pawn between you guys. So I'm aware of how that feels. And when it's never about you. So I'm good at having it be about other people and being that mommy and be like, let's focus on your feelings and how they can be great. And I'm just now trying to be like, oh, but I can also focus on mine and take care of me too. Like, oh, that's an interesting concept. I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to probably be uber aware when you have your own children of not communicating to them everything that's going on in your own personal relationships.
Yeah, because kids take that on. Like,
Right.
I always felt like the weight, like, like I knew logically it wasn't my fault at all. And there was nothing I could really do. I went to child therapy once. I played the board game My Two Houses that they had, which was a terrible game. It's like roll 5. We're spending the night at Daddy's house tonight. I'm meeting Dad's friend Carol or whatever. Like, it's a real game. But like, I still, when people are constantly, when your parents are constantly expressing their frustrations or their sadness or whatever with each other, you feel like you're supposed to do something. I always feel like a mediator. Like trying to work it out and be like, well, what if you just do that and Dad does that and maybe we can all get along?
But you're not emotional. Most kids are not emotionally equipped to handle a lot of those issues.
Oh, yeah.
And you're in the middle of it and you don't know what to do. And you, like you said, you're trying to figure it out, but it's not fair to you.
If two adults can't
Yeah.
figure it out, how can a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that is, yeah.
Yeah. I realized that much later.
So when you are in your relationships and stuff now, do you ever consciously catch yourself thinking of them and how different or how similar some of your relationships are as a result?
Thinking of my parents?
Yeah. Not like when you're in the middle of your intimate moments. I mean, that's weird.
Oh, God.
What mom do right now?
No.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had things with my ex, my long-term ex,
Mhm.
where in the beginning I remember thinking some things from like, oh, this is kind of like my dad. But then being like, maybe that's fine, because maybe it's fine that I love my dad and it's not like my mom says where everything about him is a piece of shit, and so these are good qualities, like maybe I'll take that. But then I don't think it was all the good qualities. And I think maybe there were aspects of that familiarity thing, which were, just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
Or doesn't mean that it's love. Just because it's like a way you're used to experiencing affection. But I mean, I'm aware that it has affected me and how I relate to people for sure. I'm not in therapy, so I don't actually know all of the exact ways that it does. I'm trying to figure it out myself, but it's hard.
Yeah. I like that what you just said, though. I think, just because it's comfortable and familiar doesn't mean it's love. And I think sometimes when we hook up with somebody that's comfortable and familiar with us, we immediately have this bond that we associate with love and other things. But it's more familiarity than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
For
interesting.
sure.
Well, we appreciate you coming and sharing all of your insight on divorce and how it's
Yeah.
affected you and what your plans are. What are your plans? Any immediate, I know you got the cowboy.
Oh, that was a
stunt
while
guy.
ago. That was a while ago. He was just the opener of the floodgates for LA. No, that wasn't it. We didn't even date. I don't know. I'm seeing someone,
Well, good.
sort of.
Good.
It's not an official thing. I don't feel like I should even say that out loud. I feel like I just cursed myself.
No. This is just we won't put it out there.
It's fine.
Just to our listeners, that's it.
I mean, yeah.
But it sounds like you're looking forward to making some changes here in LA. And that's exciting.
I mean, we'll see. I'm not gonna.
No, you're not in a hurry to make changes. I mean, we're not being like, so we want you to report back to us
giant
next
red
week.
flag. It's not like I'm making great choices here, but we'll see.
We'll be watching.
I tend to be attracted towards other broken people. I think in the hopes that one day our broken edges will just sort of mesh like puzzle pieces. That's the hope. Like we're both broken in complementary ways.
Yeah, and we all know the problems with that. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good theory. Just sort of how
I'm watching
working.
the boyfriend's face. He's like,
Yeah, I've been broken and dated broken people, and that always leads to a broken relationship. It never has not worked well for me. I don't even know how to segue out of that.
But I mean, if you've been broken,
Yeah.
and Leanne's been, I don't want to say broken, but divorced. So you both have your things that you're bringing.
We don't both definitely have our things. I think too, I think what makes us different for me is that we're both very, very self-aware of what we've done in the past. And we make a conscious effort all the time to not repeat those things. And
Learn from them.
We've really, when we've talked about it, our communication, this is probably the best and healthiest relationship I've had.
Oh, that's great.
And I think it's because we're both willing to actually communicate openly about things and not hold it all inside, which I was always very good about doing. And I think you were too.
Age,
Yeah.
experience, learning from past mistakes.
Yeah.
All those things help make better decisions as you get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think at this point, the older we get, the harder it is to find somebody who hasn't been broken at some level,
It's
right?
impossible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think there's a different thing. It's a person who's been broken and continues on that same path. And there's people who are broken and they want to make a change.
Yeah. I think that's more what I mean is like we're both maybe not actively broken, but have been through things
Yeah.
that we've learned from that we can respect in each other.
Yeah.
Where, we might have some unhealthy things, but we're both work through it because of a familiarity or
Yeah. As more of a team rather than one person doing it for the other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our puzzle pieces fit, and
Fit.
you got to find yours.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
So I guess, we are kind of all saying the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Cookies at the bottom of the bag, all blending together. It's like all the good stuff.
Smush our crumbs
Mhm.
together and
Mhm.
become something.
Delicious.
Mhm.
Well, did you have anything to add on that, boyfriend?
I do not.
You want to add on to this cookie metaphor right
no,
here?
I do
No?
not.
Okay.
Put it on some ice cream. That's what I'm thinking of.
Mm.
It's been really fun having you out here
Oh, thank you so much for having
Everything.
me.
talking about relationships and
The
all that.
difficulties in LA
Yeah.
for relationships.
Oh my
and-
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask you for advice on this thing once we're not.
Once we're not recording.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.